Hey everybody, welcome to Electric Cafe. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about. I think occasionally I'll do videos like this where I just share some of my recent purchases. Every now and then, just when I think about it, when I get a package in or something like that, and just kind of talk a little bit about what I recently purchased and what I'm recently checking out. So this is a video of the last couple of weeks where just kind of purchasing a few titles here and there. My buying has really slowed down the last probably 3 or 4 years. I go through these periods where there's a lot of music coming out, and I think as you get older, you get a little bit more picky, but there's a lot of great music out there and a lot of different styles, and I like a lot of different styles of music. I don't just like new wave music or techno, or I like drum and bass. I buy drone music. Ambient music is probably my favorite. I buy new wave. I buy industrial, old trance, deep house music for sure. All years of techno, avant-garde music, experimental, cold wave, dark wave, synth wave, classic new wave. Really, I'm just like all over the map. All over the map. I think the only it's probably easier to say what styles I don't listen to, which is EDM, which is like popular stuff. I don't really like last 25 years of trance. I like progressive house. I do like progressive house in some periods. But yeah, and I don't really like dubstep too much. Just a lot of the sounds kind of annoy me, which is strange because I really like dub techno and I really like reggae and the dub side of it. And I don't mind, rocksteady and ska and roots rock and stuff like that. I like that stuff too. I like those forms of reggae, but I just, dubstep just kind of bothers me ever since I first heard like Burial back in when they were hot, like 2007. Everybody was raving about dubstep and check out Burial, and I bought one of the Burials and it's sitting over in the corner. I still need to give it to somebody who might be interested. Actually, if you want, first first listener who wants the first Burial CD, message me and I'll send it to you if you pay shipping. If it's in America, I don't want to ship it overseas. But if you're in America and you want a free Burial CD, you just gotta PayPal me shipping and it's yours. I don't care for it. I've had it since it came out and it's just sitting. I've been sitting there. I think I listened to it once. Anyways, yeah. So my buying goes up and down. I always tell people buying music depends on your income, right? I think when you're a music lover, you would, love to buy everything, go into a record store and just go crazy. And I remember when I was, like I remember when we used to go to Amoeba Records in the '90s up in Berkeley, and the location in San Francisco in the middle to late '90s, and I'd walk out of there with cold sweats. I mean, it was like stuff I couldn't buy. And then, stacks of CDs. And then I wouldn't even, okay, this time I'm just going to go check out CDs. And I wouldn't even go to the vinyl section. Come back the next day and just look at the vinyl. Like, if you guys have ever been in Amoeba, if you don't go there for 6 months, it almost takes you like a good 3 days to go through that record store and feel like you actually looked up something. And I try to do that every time I go back to Los Angeles. It's my favorite record store. I haven't got a chance to check out the new location once it moved, strangely enough. So I haven't been back to California since 2018. It was a little bit before the pandemic. So I haven't been since they moved locations. But I mean, almost every year I used to go to Amoeba, in San Francisco and just record shop. That was like almost like my main visit. Besides see some friends and eat some good food and maybe go to a sporting event. Just so I always tell people, like, when I try to coach people when it comes to like record buying and stuff like that, and these kids, I guess a lot of times nowadays they ADD and stuff like that. A lot more kids seem like they have it now than when I was younger, and just anxiety and things like that, and I think about like how wonderful shopping for music was when I was a kid, and still how much I enjoy finding music and discovering music and making a blind purchase and being happy, and I mean being super excited about what I purchased, or finding something, or not asking for a track title and eventually finding that track title 20 years ago in some random purchase that I buy or something like that, and just being like, oh wow, I remember that track. Like I'm really organic when it comes to finding and buying and discovering music and sharing music and selling music. I try to keep it as organic and basic as possible, so I really enjoy it. So I always tell like kids that are getting into like buying music, like, um, you know, because a lot of times they're wondering, do I should buy vinyl, or should I download music, or should I get into this component stereos and stuff like that? It all depends on your finances. Like, can you afford a turntable? Can you afford buying vinyl? Vinyl is super expensive right now. That's why a lot of these purchases I got here are like bargain basement purchases, and that's what I've been doing for the last probably most of the time, the last 3 to 4 years. I'll buy some music. I'll buy some new music for sure, but filling in the gaps of artists that I really like with cheap purchases, just because I'm always been a favor of, I feel like I'm really caught up right now. Like, I mean, up to like, I remember like from when I started buying records, started going to the record stores as early as like 10 years old in '86. I'm talking about once a week going to record stores and buying stuff. If I was on vacation, if it was Christmas, my parents said, what do you want? I'd go to the record store. If my grandmother said, hey, what do you want for Christmas? I want some records. Like me, I mean, music, I can't tell you how much music is my life. And with all my extra money, when been growing up and stuff like that, I've spent it on music. And that's why, I mean, instead of going out to the bar when I was 21 and spending money on alcohol and buying drinks and going to a club and stuff like that, unless I was with friends, like my Friday night was going to Fat Burger, getting a burger, and going to the liquor store and maybe grabbing a couple of beers and going to the record stores, take those records home and enjoy. That was my Friday night. I mean, I loved it. Like discovering music and sharing music, even more so than even playing music, is more satisfying, and I just get a kick out of it. I love sharing music even more so than even discovering music. But it's all kind of tied in there, and when so like when I was from when I was 10 years old to 21, 24, like I really didn't, maybe 21, like I really didn't have any issues like buying the music that I want. I knew at that time, I knew a lot. I mean, now I know a lot more about music, but and especially in the early '80s, I mean the late '80s and early '90s, getting imports was super rare, and a lot of those imports you couldn't even afford. You're talking about like $50, $100 records. It was just crazy. I mean, some of the prices there for imports, and dance music was a little different, but you know, yeah. So just like it all depends on your finances. And I can remember around like '90 when I remember Amoeba opened up in like I don't know, I think it was '99. The one on Sunset, maybe 2000, and I started going there, and man, I was just like, I'd be so bummed, and it was such a disappointing trip to the record store when you couldn't get what you wanted. And they had so much music, so it was really hard. But I'm not the most like, if I wouldn't say picky, but it's hard for me to put back stuff if I want it. Like it's really hard. And so I promised myself that I would work really hard at my job, and so I would never have that issue again. And for the most of my life, it's been like that. And there was only a couple of years in like 2007, 2008, where I was kind of in between jobs, and not really even in between jobs, but just I was at a lower paying job, and I just couldn't afford it with living by myself. I've lived by myself since, for the last, since I was 18, so, of course, bills and stuff come first, but if I have extra money, it's always gone to music. So I tell these kids, it's like, don't make, record shopping a bad experience. If you can't afford stuff, then download stuff. The goal is to find music. The goal is to discover music. The goal is to find your way through music and discover as much music as possible and check it and narrow down and find what you want, whether that's buying or downloading or what have you. I've always been the type of person, if I see it on CD and I want it on vinyl and I don't have, I'll still buy it on CD because I really want to hear it, and I have every format available to play it on, and I've never let format be an issue. I prefer physical media. I've really never downloaded it until recently, as recently as last month actually. And I love physical music and all that it offers, and I love component stereos. So if I saw something that I really wanted on cassette, and down the line I'll eventually get it on vinyl, and if I really like it, I get it on CD or what. Like, format was never oh, I have to on vinyl, and oh, I don't want to on CD. No, the key for me was to get the music, to have the music, so I can listen to it. I mean, it's as simple as that. I would say so for young collectors. Don't get bogged down with formats and things like that. I mean, the great thing about buying used music and looking for deals and basement digs and on sale and stuff like that, and people that aren't charging top dollar and looking for music that you enjoy for lesser prices. Great, perfect example. I got, there's how many CDs here? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 CDs and 3 records, and I think I got these for like maybe $70, maybe 60 or $70. That's with shipping. So a lot of times, depending on your finances, stuff like that, I've kind of been in between jobs and looking for the right job and doing things here and there and in the music industry to earn a living versus going back to corporate life, and that's a whole nother story about my work life. But I'm kind of at the point where at least I'm making my bills with doing stuff that's not corporate, so I don't have that much money to buy that much music lately. So yeah, I like to buy a lot of new stuff, but that's okay, because I remember, like, again, when between 2007 and 2009, I remember that period a lot because I couldn't afford really any music right then, and that was okay because I didn't like a lot of the new music at that time. But when I first started buying stuff online in like 97, 98, I was buying all the stuff that I missed from the early 90s. And then eventually, once I got caught up by like 2007, then 2009, and then started buying music again, then I was just buying new stuff and then some stuff here and there that I missed out, but for the most part it was new stuff. So from 2010 to like 2020, 2021, I was pretty much just buying new stuff because I felt like I was pretty much all caught up with the 90s music that I wanted, and really 80s music. And if you saw my collection and saw parts of it and certain labels and stuff like that into the genres that I'm interested, you'd be like, okay, you got that covered, or okay, you got, I can see why you're focusing on new music. You got that whole label. I mean, it's just like there's certain stuff that I was just collecting, a lot of, doubles, triples of certain records and things like that, and then just start buying new music. So right now, I'm not buying too much new music, but that's okay. In a couple of years, there's so much music right now. I think the other thing is I'm letting it sink in, and not just trying to buy all new stuff right now. And because not only are new records very expensive, but and I'm sure a lot of them, I mean, the trends are they're still garnering a lot of money, and some are going up. So but I've kind of gotten out of that. Somebody calls it FOMO, the fear of missing out, and that limited vinyl. You know, there's only 200 copies. You know, it's on pre-order, but you can get your copy now. I don't fall. I don't fall for that. I've gotten over that. The last probably like, I don't know. It depends. I mean, that following dub techno in the early 2000s, most of those labels, dub techno was like that. It was very. I wouldn't say it was elitist, but it was very like limited edition, colored vinyl. Like it was like dub techno really started, and probably to the extent there's probably like heavy metal and punk did that as well. For those that don't know, punk music and heavy metal, man, they're just as hardcore as like electronic music when it comes to like not even so much the vinyl, but you know the limited editions, the merchandise and stuff like that. Like they're hardcore about that stuff and the limited edition. So I kind of got out of that pretty early. So I haven't been like that in a long time. I feel like I'm missing out. Of course, there's some artists when it comes out, I'll get it, but you know, for 95 times out of 100, I'm not like buying it right away unless it's something that I really really want. You know, which is normal. There's always going to be some new release you want. I think recently I got the new Yagia CD, the Coconut Remix thing, and then Shinichi Otobi. So I it's hard for me to pass up those two artists, for example. So want to just share some releases I just got in the last couple weeks. On the vinyl side, the single for Ice House, "Don't Believe Anymore." I really wanted to get this because this is one of my top 5. If you guys saw my Ice House videos, this is "Don't Believe Anymore" is probably I think I rated it number 5 or number 6 is my favorite Ice House song. And having it on 45 on the first side, 45 RPMs, is great, but also this is a really mint condition one. And then also the B-sides, The Mountain, which is on Sidewalk record, but also Dance On. So The Mountain is kind of an ambient. It's the last song on Sidewalk, their 1984 album. And so The Mountain is a track that I'd like to use in ambient sets and things like that, so I wanted to get on vinyl. But also Dance On, it's very much like Roxy music. Very cool track. I think I'm going to play it next New Wave show. Next New Wave DJ thing that I do. Because it's a really catchy track and it's super. It's only on a B-side. It's not on a release. So Ice House, yeah, I think I got this for like $4 or something like that, $4 or $5. And then I also got the Ice House Taking the Town. And the reason why I bought this, I'm not a huge fan of the Taking the Town track. It's in my top 30. It's pretty solid. If I'm not mistaken, it sounds like Simple Minds. Yeah, it sounds like Simple Minds a little bit, the way he sings it. And I do like the chorus, not so much like the verses. It's got the extended version on here, but the reason why I bought this was Java. The B-side, Java, is only on this 45, on this 12-inch. And if you saw my Ice House video, I was raving about this. I think I have this like in my top 5, like number 4, number 5 favorite Ice House track, and it's an instrumental. It's called Java, and if you don't know it, it sounds like Tangerine Dream. It's about a 5-minute track, and it kind of sounds like a Tangerine Dream track. I love it. And I really wanted to have it on vinyl for, again, same things the other Ice House. I wanted to have it for ambient sets. And then also when I was making that purchase, I had to reach the limit of like $15 to buy the seller's median. So I ended up adding this. It's actually, besides the writing, it's a really nice copy. I just played it last night for the first time. It's EDN, Moving and Grooving, on UMM Records. For those that know UMM, they do some really great ambient techno and ambient house, sort of some Italo house, an Italian label. So UMM, great label. I really liked Pan Pan Little Tribal, the tribal mix, and also Pan Pan Little, the Oregon mix. And then the other side was pretty solid too. I liked the January mix of that as well. So to get this for $2 in near mint condition, the vinyl is in near mint. The pressing. I mean, the writing on the label. Somebody wrote on the label here, and there's of course just a sticker, some writing there. But the actual vinyl is near mint, so to get it for $2. I will buy $2 records especially on UMM all day long. So looking at the CDs, so I got Sten's, the Essence. Sten has three full lengths under his name. This is the first one I bought under Sten, and I was just kind of filling in the gaps. I'm a huge fan of Lawrence, and he also records under Lawrence. Lawrence and Stan, aka Stan, his real name is Stan, I believe. Used to record on Dial Records, and started out on Dial, and then I think he moved to Smallville and a couple other labels. But I really like his take on kind of melodic, minimal techno and house. He's really clean producer, really good stuff. I've been checking out this last day and a half. This one's actually on compact. A little bit disappointed in this. It's got some good tracks. It's growing on me. As I heard it through the second time today. It's solid. I mean, everything Lawrence put out is solid, but this isn't as good as the stuff under Lawrence. But it's growing on me. There's the title track, the Essence, is okay. The track after More Stash is okay. The other tracks I've heard so far, that I've heard around twice, are good. Daylight, Unknown Forces, Unknown Faces, Squares, Take Me to the Fridge. And so far I'm right there on my second lease. So I'm liking, 4 of the 7 tracks so far. I gotta check out the last 2. So pretty solid, but, I'll have to finish giving it a couple more runs, but I do like some of the sounds in here. He always does really clean production, and always good music to mix on a dance floor. Just solid. Filling in the gaps here in 1994. This is Schmidt. So if you guys know Schmidt, he's done so much music, and it's really hard to keep up with all the music he's done, especially on CDs. And some of the CDs that are so expensive. So this was a cheaper, lesser known project he did called Almost Digital, and this is on the Hypnotism label. I'm really excited to check this out. I mean, all of Schmidt's ambient techno stuff, especially around '94, was amazing. So I have no doubt this will be really good. So for an inexpensive purchase, hard not to pick up that. All right, filling in a lot of gaps here. So Christian Vogel. I've always been a big fan of Christian Vogel since he was on Millie Plateau when I found him, and then started following him through Tresor, Dungeon Master, and Body Mapping, and I recently, probably about 7 years ago, got his greatest hits or his a double compilation. Of course, he was on Magnetic Force and a Magnetic North label, and some other really good techno labels in there. Probably starting in around 93 or 94. I think he started producing probably around 90 or 91. But yeah, Absolute Time. I think this one's on Tresor, yep. And then also Specific Momentific. That's that mouthful. I'm not sure if this is on Tresor. But, Christian does some really nice techno. Very clean. He's got a background in industrial, I feel like. I don't know his background too much, but I feel like he has kind of like a little bit of I wouldn't say mechanical, but it has a little bit like a machine type. He has this aggressiveness. He never went fully over to more loopy techno when that was popular in like 99, 2000. He always stayed in his darker vein. I wouldn't say creepy techno like James Ruskin, but there's always an eeriness about his techno. Darker side, warehouse vibe that I always really loved with Christian Vogel. And if you guys know Tresor music in the 90s, it's quintessential Tresor style techno. And So yeah, got these ones. So there's only like one or two more Christian Vogel records I would like, and then I pretty much completed his discography, the stuff that I'd like from him. Um, Here's a really good glitch ambient producer, Frank. I won't bastardize his name. Breckenschneider. I have a few of his albums. This one's on Raster Norton, right? I think Raster Norton. Yeah, Raster Norton. I think it was Raster Norton. Never heard it ever pronounced. It's a German glitch ambient kind of avant-garde music concrete label that's been around since the late '90s, and they've always put out a lot of really great CDs. You talk about like Millie Plateau and 12K, and I mean Raster Norton is up there with like Compact and Chain Reaction, some of the best German techno labels of all time. Force Inc. and I mean just amazing. This is a really interesting record. I've only heard this once. I just got these this week, so I played it a couple days ago. If Autech did a glitch ambient record, it would kind of sound like this. There's some pretty aggressive, kind of almost verging on hip hop beats on here. I was really impressed with some of the grooves on here. I wish there was a little bit more ambient, maybe a little bit longer. I think this only has, I think it's just a little bit over 40 minutes and 9 songs. 4 of them are under 4 minutes. In fact, there's only 2 over 5 minutes, so a little short on content, but Rhythm by Frank Brzechek Snyder. Horrible. I'm bad with pronunciation, I'm sorry. But really good CD. Another one in his collection. So there's just a couple more I need. Actually, funny. Another Raster Norton one. This one's by Robert, is it Lipock? I've never heard of this guy before, but if you guys know this song, it's a 3-song CD in here. It's really hard to see on this, so bear with me, right? I just want to get the name right. I think it's called Close. The tracks are called Open, Close, Open. I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's Close because it's like just a little bit over 7-minute track. It's a nice and warm ambient kind of glitch track. It is so underrated. It's like up there with like Gas. Robert Lipock, or sorry, Lipock, Lippock. And the track's called Close. It's like 7. It's a little bit over 7 minutes, like 7 minutes 10 seconds. Check them out. If you like Gas, I'm trying to think who else. I mean, there's this Millie Plateau stuff. I mean, if you like Veer, I mean Frank Brzechek Snyder with another glitch one. I'm trying to think more on the ambient side. I mean, a lot of 12K is. But man, that song is so good. Oh man, I recently found this. And so I put it in my want list probably a year ago, and I happened to see finally a copy in America, and it was only like $7. It got reissued. It's actually on vinyl. I think this came out in 2000 or 99 or something like that, and it was also on vinyl at the time, and they just recently reissued. So I think that's why it might have brought it to the forefront for me. With this particular music, I'd rather have it on CD than vinyl. So moving on to Future Loop Foundation. So I like a lot of drum and bass, especially from the liquid drum and bass era of like 95 to 94 to about 2000. Like Photech and LTJ Bukem and Seba and a lot of stuff in that range. Future Loop Foundation is Mark Barrett, who's actually, from My Feel International Records, who, I've been collecting the last like 10 years ago. And I finally realized that he actually did, I've heard of Future Loop Foundation, never really looked into him, but then I was like, oh, it's Mark Barrett, which I really love his atmosphere on his tracks. Well, if he did drum bass, then it should be pretty atmospheric. And this is right in that wheelhouse of 1996. So this is their debut CD on Mammoth Records, and I love Mammoth Records, which is a side division of Planet Dog, which Planet Dog did a lot of like Eat Static and a lot of, you know, the Check Your Head compilations and Jake Stephenson and you know, a lot of great Children of the Bong. Trying to think if Paradise 3001 was on there, but I think that's Magic Eye. Sometimes I get Magic Eye and Mammoth Planet Dog confused. There's one other, Children of the Bong, and there was another one. Was Children of the Bong? Is it Paradise 3001? I'll have to check. I can't remember. There's another group that I really like that's on Mammoth as well. But yeah, so it should be a little bit. I mean, the label is kind of, you know, it's kind of Goa ambient, but this is drum and bass and stuff like that, and trance, that label, you know, trance, stuff like that. But so this should be really good drum and bass. I haven't checked it out yet. And then the last purchase was Mir, Welcome Space Brothers. I don't actually know too much about this artist, but you know, it's on IQ Records and it's listed as trance and ambient and techno, and that's, you know, this is 1995, so this should be on the edge of the last good trance era that I like. You know, after 95, I didn't like too much trance. It lost a lot of the appeal for me, and this is kind of the end of IQ Records. Of course, I follow IQ Records a lot. You know, Hard House and Sven Vast labels. Love IQ Records. Love Hard House, MFS Records, and Magic Eye Records, and a lot of the Heidi of Switzerland. A lot of good trance labels in those days, and this is actually a CD that it's actually 1997, so this might be right on the edge. But considering, I'm just hoping there might be a few ambient tracks in here that I like. I'm not really expecting to like the trance so much, but I feel like this one's probably going to be a little bit more ambient because of the length of the track. There's 5 of the 7 tracks are over 8 minutes, and 3 of them are over 10. So I'm hoping there's some good ambient that I can use for mixes and stuff like that in here. And that's again, that's MIR, and it's called the Welcome Space Brothers. So hopefully this should be good. One of it says created in 1995, and the back it says 1997. I feel like it is 95, 96, but yeah. So that's kind of my purchases the last couple of weeks. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for tuning in to Electronic Cafe. Be curious if you'd like to write down some of your recent purchases in the comments section. I'll be curious which of your new purchases or which ones you want to recommend that you've gotten recently. I'll be curious to check them out and see what you guys are interested in, and see what music you're digging. All right, thanks for checking out Electric Cafe. Have a good day. Bye.